In an age of judges and prophets, the people cried out for a king. They sought a leader who would stand tall, a warrior who would command armies, and a figurehead who would bring them glory among the nations. The prophet Samuel was sent by God to the house of Jesse in Bethlehem. For among his sons, a new ruler for Israel would be found. One by one, Jesse presented his sons, strong, capable, and impressive men who looked the part of royalty. Eliab, Abinadab, Shammah, each stood before the prophet, their stature and presence filling the room. Yet with each presentation, the Lord's message to Samuel was clear: this is not the one. The nation was looking for a hero, a man of outward strength and worldly qualifications. But God's criteria were different. He was searching for a heart aligned with his own. While the selection process unfolded within the walls of Jesse's home, the one chosen by God was not even in attendance. Far from the gathering of important men, a young shepherd boy named David was out in the fields tending to his father's flock. He was the youngest, the one overlooked, the one left to the humble task of caring for sheep. Under the vast open sky, surrounded by the gentle quiet of nature, David's world was one of solitude and simple duty. He knew the rhythms of the wilderness, the threat of predators, and the peace of a quiet pasture. He was a boy alone with his thoughts, his heart, and his God, completely unaware that the destiny of a nation was about to pivot toward him. His brothers were considered for their appearance, but David was being shaped in his character, far from the eyes of men. Back in the house, Samuel was perplexed. All of Jesse's present sons had been passed over. The Lord's guidance was firm, revealing a profound truth that would echo through generations. God spoke to Samuel, saying, "Do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him." The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. This divine declaration cut through all human standards of judgment. It wasn't about being the tallest, the strongest, or the most handsome. It was about the inner condition, the unseen character, the purity of one's devotion. God saw past the polished exteriors and peered directly into the soul, searching for a heart that was humble, faithful, and wholly his. With all the present sons rejected, a question hung in the air. "Are these all the sons you have?" Samuel asked Jesse. Hesitantly, Jesse admitted there was one more, the youngest out keeping the sheep. The command was immediate. "Send for him. We will not sit down until he arrives." A messenger was dispatched, and soon the young shepherd boy was summoned from the fields. David walked from the bright daylight of the pasture into the tension-filled room, his skin weathered by the sun and his clothes dusty from his work. He was described as glowing with health, with a fine appearance and handsome features, but it was what God had already seen within him that truly mattered. As he entered, the Lord confirmed to Samuel, "This is the one." In that humble home, surrounded by his stunned father and overlooked brothers, a moment of sacred significance unfolded. Samuel took the horn of oil, and following God's command, anointed David in the midst of his family. As the fragrant oil was poured over his head, it symbolized not just a future kingship, but an immediate empowerment. The scriptures tell us that from that day on, the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon David. He was set apart, chosen by the divine king for a purpose far greater than he could have imagined. In an instant, the shepherd boy became the anointed heir to the throne, marked not by a crown of gold, but by the presence of God's own Spirit. Yet despite the holy anointing and the divine promise, David did not immediately ascend to the throne. He was chosen, but his time had not yet come. He returned to his flock, to the quiet fields and the lonely nights under the stars. This was his season of waiting, a period of hidden preparation where the Spirit of the Lord would continue to shape him. He was a king in waiting, learning lessons in faithfulness, patience, and reliance on God in the obscurity of the wilderness. This season of stillness, far from the palace, was just as crucial as the anointing itself, forging the heart of the man who would one day become Israel's greatest king. This journey from being overlooked to being chosen, followed by a season of waiting, resonates deeply with our own lives. How often do we feel unseen, working faithfully in obscurity while others seem to be chosen for greatness? We might be in a quiet field of our own, a lonely season where our calling feels distant and our purpose unclear. We may feel like a silhouette walking through the complexities of modern life, wondering if our time will ever come. The story of David reminds us that these moments of quiet preparation are not in vain. It is in the waiting that our character is forged and our hearts are prepared for what God has in store. Just as the sun rises to bring a new day, God's timing is perfect. The same light that illuminated the fields where David tended his sheep eventually illuminated his path to the throne. His story is a timeless reminder that our journey is not defined by human timelines or worldly recognition. It is a testament to the fact that God's plan unfolds in His own time and in His own way. He sees the heart, He values faithfulness in the small things, and He prepares us in the waiting. We can find hope in knowing that even when we feel forgotten or our calling seems delayed, we are seen by a God who sees what others miss. If you would like to hear more stories like this, hit the subscribe button.